Boom! The black cat roared, shaking the sky. The entire sea of consciousness was trembling, Lu Ming was stiff, and his body was almost torn apart. I'm sorry. It's slippery. At the critical moment, Lu Ming gave in decisively. The black cat's hair was trembling, and it was no longer as luxurious as before. It was like an ancient giant beast, staring into Lu Ming's eyes, obviously very angry. Super fierce. I was wrong. Lu Ming gave in again. The temptation of petting a cat. Okay. He actually did it on purpose. There is such a powerful creature in the body without any restraints, how can it be possible to rest assured? Therefore, as mentioned before, Lu Ming is testing its bottom line. In other words, he was testing the cat's temperament. The black cat fell asleep just after changing places, which means that it is really sleepy and really needs to rest, so it will not change places again at this time. There is no energy and no conditions. So, Lu Ming is absolutely safe. He needs to get the information he wants at this time. The black cat's golden eyes were full of majesty. Its cold gaze swept over Lu Ming, and it seemed to have seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. Its noble and indifferent gaze seemed to be full of contempt. Suddenly, it shifted its gaze and landed on the original card in the sea of consciousness. On weekdays, when not summoned, Lu Ming's condensed original cards are naturally here. Ouch! The black cat lazily opened its mouth and bit it directly. Click. There was a crisp sound from the original card. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. The original card is the foundation of his cultivation. If the original card is destroyed, he will really become a useless person. Think of this. He ignored the temptation and rushed towards the black cat, trying to snatch back the original card. At this time, the black cat's eyes swept over him coldly. Puff! The black cat opened his mouth and spit out the original card. Boom! The original card spurted out, knocking Lu Ming away and slamming him to the ground. Lu Ming didn't care whether he was injured or not. He hurriedly got up and looked at the original card. His eyes widened suddenly. He saw that the originally crystal clear original card was now full of cracks. A lightning-like crack appeared on the original card, seemingly dividing the original complete card into areas. It's broken. Lu Ming felt very distressed. Brother, are you a cat? Why are you biting like a husky? You are crossing a boundary. Lu Ming was very nervous. He carefully broke it off without actually breaking it into pieces. He picked up the original card again and tried to operate it. He confirmed that the original card could still be used, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. At least it's not broken, otherwise I would have to start practicing from scratch. This guy. He has an intuitive understanding of black cat's strength. Brush. The black cat's breath swept across Lu Ming's body, sending a chill down his body. This is a warning. I know. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Boom. The black cat smacked its little paw and knocked Lu Ming out. Lu Ming. This is inside his own body, okay? Consciousness returns. Lu Ming returned to the real world. Sure enough, he guessed it right. Lu Ming's heart flashed with surprise, he was right to pet the cat. Although the black cat man bit his original card fiercely and drove him out, this confirmed Lu Ming's suspicion. First, it clearly still has the ability to take action, but it only warns itself. This shows that it does not dare to kill itself, because if it dies, it will definitely die too. And if the original card is destroyed and you can't practice, and you don't know if the sea of consciousness is still there, it will most likely die. So, it can only warn itself. Or maybe it is a kind creature and doesn't like to hurt others. No matter which one, it's a good thing. Lu Ming affirmed. To a certain extent, I was safe for the time being. Second, it's really powerful. In Lu Ming's opinion, the original card is difficult to destroy. Even if it encapsulates a power 10 times or 100 times greater than its own, the unlucky one is the card maker himself, and the original card itself will not suffer much damage. The strength of the original card is evident. As for our black cat uncle, he only took one bite. This is undoubtedly terrifying. With such a creature following him, Lu Ming had a powerful trump card. Third, of course, this is also the most important point. It feels so good to play with cats. Lu Ming was filled with emotion. He has been petting cats all his life, but he has never petted a cat of this level. Of course, it feels good to be happy. Although it solves the worries, the consequences are also quite serious. After all, Uncle Cat is still very fierce when he shows off his power. For example, Lu Ming's original card. Buzz. A faint stream of light flashed, and the original card was suspended in the air. Lu Ming's face turned dark. Original. His original card was crystal clear, shimmering, and very beautiful, but now, a strange lightning crack seemed to be imprinted on the original card. Even the flickering light no longer seems to be pure white, but has a hint of cyan. Very strange. Is this the price of petting a cat? Can this thing still work? Lu Ming was very doubtful. Think about it. He simply found a Fruit Ninja card, released it directly on his original card, and used the original card to encapsulate the illusion of Fruit Ninja to see the effect. Lu Ming looked at the screen displayed on the original card. The texture on the back is the same. The same goes for the front card. Apart from the lightning cracks with a cyan shimmer that made the entire card look a little weird, the card itself didn't seem to be affected in any way. It's normal. Lu Ming felt relieved. During the day, I was doing business while making cards, and at night I was competing with the black cat. Before I knew it, it was past midnight. Lu Ming moved to his cabin and fell asleep. And at this time, a private house in the northern suburbs. Mangkut and a few shirtless men were playing cards happily. 2. Sorry. I won. Shanghu laughed. He felt that he was extremely lucky today. First, they were lucky enough to scavenge a bunch of high-end card fragments in the wild, and sold them all to shops that often helped them deal with these things. Then they sold the eliminated junk cards to that kid Lu Ming. That fool. Although he doesn't look as cowardly as before, he is still stupid. Mangosteen, you've won 10 games in a row, right? The man next to him said with envy and jealousy, you have such bad luck today. Hee. Mangosteen said proudly, that's it, let me tell you, I. Suddenly, the expression on his face hardened. A little blood slowly seeped out between his eyebrows, and a hole actually appeared. Mangosteen. Several people around him were horrified, looking at the body where Mangosteen was still sitting with his eyes wide open but no longer breathing. They were so frightened that they turned around and ran away. Call out. There was a flash of blood. There was no life left in the scene. A thin figure slowly appeared in the darkness. He walked to Shanghu and took out a list from his body, with a receipt for the sale of used cards clearly written on it. There are a total of 72 disabled cards, including 3 1-star disabled cards, 5 2-star disabled cards, 3-star disabled cards. And finally there are 21 unknown disabled cards. Well. There is a signature here. The man paused, turned and left. After a while, the man appeared at the door of the store where the payment was made, walked in easily, and looked for what he wanted. Soon, he found what he wanted among the broken cards. He pieced it together. Several unknown fragments were combined into a small half of the card, which looked extremely extraordinary. I found you. He raised his hand. Boom. Terrible energy surged in his hands. On the card, the missing parts were slowly being filled in, which was extremely terrifying. However, after the card gradually recovered, the man looked disappointed. Sure enough. Are you late? He said with regret, this card is noble because of you, how could the grade be so low? It seems, you have really disappeared. If I had known this, why would we have had this battle? A sigh came out. His figure disappeared without a trace. As if never showed up.